Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly profound. It's a text called You Are Me, the Book of Existence. And what's so fascinating about this source is how it basically synthesizes science, religion, philosophy, and spirituality into one massive, unified worldview. We're going to be exploring the very nature of reality, consciousness, and ultimately, why you are exactly where you are right now.
We're starting with a simple but absolutely powerful realization that's going to serve as our foundation today. You are me, I am you. This is true. Let that sink in for a second. If you truly understand and experience this concept, it has the potential to change literally everything about how we perceive our lives. It's not about learning some brand new piece of information. Rather, it's more about reminding yourself of something that, deep down, you've always inherently known.
Section 1. The Synthesis of Reality, Beyond Separateness.
So this text really acts as a massive invitation. It's asking us to shift our perception away from our usual, everyday lens of individualism, separateness, and conflict. Instead, it invites us to look toward a deeply interconnected, shared existence. Interestingly, it explicitly states that it isn't just a science book or just religion or just philosophy. It doesn't ask to be worshipped, and it certainly doesn't demand your blind belief. It describes itself as a seed that's meant to be tested, lived, corrected, and most importantly, shared. It's a call for a totally new worldview, one that's unified but diverse, dynamic, and anchored in timeless insight to cultivate a wiser, more peaceful world.
Section 2. The First Observer, the Cosmic Descent.
All right, let's travel back to the very beginning. I want you to imagine a state of boundless stillness, an infinite silent void. We're talking about a time when there was no time, no light, no physical particles, no motion whatsoever. And that brings up a really fascinating question. Why is it that something has to exist at all? Like, why isn't there just absolute nothingness? Well, think about it. If nothing existed, there'd be no observer to even know that nothing exists, right? Nobody would be there to validate the emptiness. It would be a completely unreal world. So the absolute minimum reality possible is that something must exist to observe what is or isn't there.
Therefore, an observer simply has to exist to validate reality. We start with this featureless one, fully aware in the silent void, and here is where the text makes an incredibly intimate claim about this original, timeless awareness. It says that first observer is you. At the very core, before literally everything else, there was simply awareness, aware of its own existence.
And you know what? You can actually glimpse this initial state of pure awareness yourself. The text suggests a really simple experiment. Just sit still in a completely dark, silent room where there's no perceptible motion or even a draft of air. If you close your eyes and practice stopping all of your thoughts, you essentially become a miniature version of that very first observer. You drop the language, you drop the physical sensations, and only the core you remains, just completely, simply aware of your own existence.
Section 3. Layers of Consciousness, the Anatomy of the Mind.
Now you might be wondering, how do we get from a pure, empty void of awareness into the highly complex architecture of your everyday mind? Well, it happens through concentric layers of human consciousness. From that singular infinite core of pure awareness at the very center, absolutely every other layer of your reality is constructed. You're actually acting as the creator of your own psychological landscape, building it outward layer by layer. Let's break down exactly what these layers are.
You can think of this as a chronological map of your psychological evolution. Right at the center is pure awareness, the observer. That observer then forms an intention, which is the primal focus of the soul. This intention radiates out into feeling, which, by the way, doesn't even require language yet. From there, it solidifies into knowledge and memory, basically the recorded state of your experiences. Moving further outward, we get to imagination and thought, where language and vocabulary finally come into play. And eventually, we reach the outermost shell, perception. This is your localized interface with the physical world. It's the boundary that separates what you consider me from not me.
Section 4. Actualization of Potential, the Engine of Creation.
So if you are an infinite core containing the potential for literally everything, why create anything at all? Why not just chill in the void? Well, because the infinite contains complete symmetry and infinite possibilities. If there's a potential for movement, that movement eventually has to happen, or the potential itself is completely invalid. Creation isn't just some random spark in the dark, it's the inevitable resolution of tension. It's the moment when infinite possibilities are literally forced to express themselves, snapping into a definite, distinct reality. This natural unfolding process is called the actualization of potential, or AOP for short.
The crucial point here is understanding how this AOP drives our daily lives. On one hand, we have unexpressed potential and stagnation. The source notes that stagnation limits our actualization, which leads directly to decay, pain, boredom, and discontent. But on the other hand, we have the active conversion of potential into actualized reality, what we normally just call growth. This continuous drive for growth is exactly what brings us the reward of happiness and contentment. We are literally wired by the universe to want to grow.
The text frames this perfectly, saying AOP is the first cause, the reason for your descent from infinite intelligence to small units of limited consciousness. To experience this growth, to turn all those infinite possibilities into actual lived experiences, the infinite whole had to partition itself. It divided up into zillions of unique, localized units. And that is exactly what you and I are. We're each taking a highly specialized, individual journey to actualize one specific piece of that infinite potential.
Section 5. Our Shared Destiny, the Return to the Infinite.
Now, let's zoom back out to see how all of this unites humanity. The text gives us this profound metaphor. Like drops in a massive ocean, each of us is the exact same ocean, yet entirely unique in our experience of it. We are literally the universe looking at itself through its zillion eyes. We're all part of the exact same entity, temporarily taking on unique, localized perspectives to explore the vast depths of creation.
And because of this, we share three universal commonalities. First off, we have equal status and potential as parts of the same entity. Second, we all share that inbuilt urge to grow and expand, that AOP we talked about. And crucially, third, we have free will. Every single person's path is unique, valid, and equally valuable to the overarching universe, simply because it actualizes a different strand of infinite potential.
We are complex, individual expressions of a singular source. Because we all started from the exact same point of pure infinite awareness, we are all ultimately heading toward the exact same unified destination. Our journey is simply moving from infinite awareness down into infinitesimally small awareness, and then, eventually, back to infinite awareness, having completely actualized our potential. So, as you go about your day today, keeping this vast, interconnected framework in the back of your mind, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. Since you are a vital piece of the universe experiencing itself, how will you consciously use your free will today to transform your infinite possibilities into your reality? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.